welcome to the very special show of chess.com India for the FIDE Online Chess Olympiad. So definitely player of the pool B for me is Nihal Sarin as he scored 4 out of 4. Also shout out to Adivan and Bhakti for scoring 4 by 5. And also with it, like entire team performed really well. But I would like to go with Nihal as he scored 100% and with a crazy rating performance of 3000. We have already seen one of his games on day 1 against international master Panzan Milton, जो कि कुछ अंत में ऐसे एंड हुआ और उसकी खास बात ये थी कि ये स्ट्रक्चर इफ यू वांट चेक आउट दैट गेम डू चेक आउट गेम ऑफ द डे one for the game of the day special a phenomenal Nihal performance on day 1. Do check out that video on chess.com India's channel. So in the fourth round of FIDE Online Chess Olympiad, India was up against Shenzhen, China, and Nihal was playing against Zhu Havon. He started with 1d4, and the game sooner went into Catalan type positions where he played g3, and here Nihal reacted with h6, which is a sideline but quite interesting. Let's see what happens. So his idea is he wants to play bishop d6, and whenever he plays c5, he just wants to go back, or जब भी मौका मिले तब b6, and if b4, you want to play a5. And let's see what happens next. He plays castle, okay, castle, knight c3. Nihal prefers piece development, and the whole idea is he wants to just get e5 as quick as possible, and if he takes, okay, takes, and the bishop is open. And if white decides to play something like c5, then just bishop e7. Let's say b6 is the threat, so let's say he plays a3, so b6, b4, and Nihal can even just take, and play something like knight e4. Let's say bishop b2, and okay, let's say rook b8 now. And there is no rook b1 because rook b2, and then n into c3. So Nihal has like very good compensation. Also bishop f6, f5 he can play. So this is like simply good for black. So playing c5 is not a good idea for white. So white player decides to go b3, simply takes dc, and e5. Nihal simply following his plan. Now Zhu plays bishop b2. If he plays d5, okay, knight a5, attacking the pawn. And if he plays queen d3, then he has rook e8, threatening e4. And if he plays e4, then the bishop is not doing much, and Nihal can still continue b6, bishop a6, attacking the pawn. So in the game, he played bishop b2, rook e8, and again if d5, and let's say in this case he goes knight d2, Nihal follows the same plan. Let's say b6, bishop a6, and trying to put more pressure. While these bishops are not doing much, this is like stopped by his own pawn, and this bishop is stopped by this pawn, also this knight. So Nihal is just doing fine, or let's say it's an equal position. So in the game, nb5 was played, to which Nihal replied with e4, knight e5, and now Nihal just simplified the position with a6. Now he has to take on c6 or d6. If he takes like this, okay, like this, and then he has to take this and like this. He decides to take knight into c6 first, never mind, takes. He must take the bishop. If he goes back again, like rook b8 is annoying, so he takes, and decides to play d5, opening up the at least one bishop. Nihal of course blocked the position because his opponent has two bishop, and goes simply bishop f5, queen c3, rook b8, e3, and I would like to highlight this move, queen to d7. Now he just wants to go bishop g4, bishop h3, and with the ideas like this, trying to attack the king and take control on over the light squares. Nihal played bishop g4 in the game. However, bishop h3 could have been better, as if he goes back, Nihal can just directly go queen g4 with the idea of n7, and maybe rook e5 or rook h5, and if he gets chance ng5 as well, like this. So this could have been better, like he gets this in two moves. But in the game, Nihal played bishop g4 with the idea of bishop f3, which is also good, as white is not having any active plan. He plays queen c2, and now Nihal has to bet knight h7. And if he plays queen c3 again, maybe he has to play knight f6 and or rook e5. I mean, in that case, he will have to repeat once, because there is no rook e5 because bishop into e4 is coming, and there is a checkmate here. So definitely bishop h3 was better in the game. However, his opponent did decide to repeat, and he plays h4, preventing any ng5. So Nihal just goes bishop f3, attacking the bishop. He plays queen c3 again, and f6 now. He goes queen e1, and now Nihal doesn't go nh7 back. He decides to take on g2. If he takes bishop into f6, okay, it's simple, just checkmate. So he must take the g2 bishop, and now knight g4. Now the knight is simply stronger than the bishop because it's covering the key squares, and these squares are very big, and when the queen will land here, it's going to create some problem for black. It's going to create some problem for white. Queen e2, rook b4. I like this move very much, and it attacks the c4 pawn and keeps the queen busy. Now he goes bishop c3, and now Nihal simply goes rook a4. This is like bit committal move. He's keeping his rook in middle of the board, like not so much active, but covering maybe the important square like the c4, rook a3 at some point possible. He can go rook d3 in the future. So this was like a big decision by Nihal, and very clever as well at the same time. He goes rook b3, preventing rook a3 ideas. Now Nihal just improves his queen to f5, e3, and rook into c4. This is the move which I liked a lot. I like this move a lot because now he cannot take here, simply queen into pawn and queen s2 is a checkmate. So he goes rook b1 and now Nihal simply plays h5 as still he's not threatening to take on c4 because of the checkmate. He goes king g1 and now Nihal is not wasting time and simply goes rook into c3, which is my favorite move of this game because now he's giving the action sacrifice and making the square available for the knight, and now this is very deadly. Now this cannot be stopped. Look, watch out what is happening. Now Ju played queen f1, which is turned out to be blunder because an f3 check is coming, and he goes king h1 and now nd2, and just his opponent thought okay he's losing some exchange and f2 pawn, but the moment he went away from this diagonal, Nihal goes queen s3 and it's a checkmate is unavoidable after king g1 and f3. So here he resigned and he gave a very simple win for Team India with black pieces in just 35 moves. Now let's go for the next game where he was playing against a grandmaster from Azerbaijan in round number 5. So in the very important and crucial round, India was playing Azerbaijan, one of the toughest teams in Pool B. And before the start of the Olympiad, it was very clear that the race for first and second place will be between India and Azerbaijan. So this was like very important match where Nihal was up against one of the promising talent from Azerbaijan, Grandmaster Asadil Vugar, and Nihal was playing with white pieces. And in this game, opening didn't go well for Nihal. It was like some English Neo-Catalan type of opening. But I would like to show you this game directly from move number 19. So guys, this is the position which I wanted to talk about. So opening didn't go well, and as you can see the bar was slowly falling, and it gives like equal plus for black. But from here, Nihal played like very nice game. Like it looks like equal and maybe slightly better for black. But the way Nihal played, it looks like he really played fantastic game. So let's see guys how to convert positions which are not so good for you, and when opening doesn't go well, what to do. So look guys how he outplayed. He played a4 here, trying to go active. He wants to play a5 and gain some space. Asadli goes c5. Nihal simply plays a5, attacking the knight and following his plan. He goes nd5. Nihal is like, no, I don't want draw. I want to fight. He put his knight on e4. He knew that he's playing with white pieces, and it's very important point for Team India. And if he cannot really make draw, especially when the previous round Humpy lost with black pieces. So like he was taking the responsibility that he needs to win with the white pieces. So he goes knight e4, knight b4, queen c3, and while Asadli just thought okay knight d5 and okay his position is not so great, maybe just repeat and okay let's just make draw. But here Nihal simply improves his position to queen c4. Very cleverly done this moves, and he plays queen c4 when knight is not doing much on d5. If the knight is on b4, then the rook is active, and okay it gives more threat like knight c2, knight d4, and like knight is more active basically. Now he exchanges queen, takes and b4, and now Nihal makes another bold decision by going bishop to e3. Knight c2. If knight c2 guys, there's a rook b1, and Nihal was relying on the tactics like knight e3, fe3. If f5 trying to attack the knight, Nihal's plan was definitely to go rook to b7, attacking the bishop, and if something like king f7, he simply has ng5, and he goes anywhere, he just takes the pawn, and he cannot leave the bishop because that's on pawn. The bishop is hanging. So he gets the juicer there, and if he goes king f8 guys, okay, maybe there are many moves like maybe just a6 or just maybe knight c3 as black is not threatening much, and if rook b8 he can play rook b1 or a6, and maybe knight will come to b5, and this will be the clear weakness. So he was relying on this, and let's say if black takes the control of the b file by playing rook b8, maybe just take and rook d1, and now black again cannot play rook d8 really because the c5 pawn is always hanging. And okay, you can say that rook d8, bishop d8, knight c5, bishop into pawn is possible, but guys look, Nihal will not do this. Nihal will not do like this. He will do this, he will do this, and then he'll just simply play a6. Now the problem is if you go bishop b6, Nihal goes knight to d6, and next move knight c8, and the king is so far, he attacks the a7 and b6, and suddenly you can see the bar is going up, which makes the position completely winning for white. And let's say if he goes to bishop e7 defending the pawn, now Nihal goes knight c3 and like knight b5. So this was the one idea, and another idea is he can also play rook to b1 and trying to keep the initiative with him, like a6 pawn is coming, and again f5, the same idea of rook b7 will work because the bishop is hanging and the bishop is bad behind the pawn. Let's go back to the game. In the game he played knight d4 instead of n into e3. He attacks the pawn. Nihal is again, he wants to give the pawn, he sacrificed a pawn and again went rook b7. Always guys, whatever plan he makes, he follows it. So if you can learn one thing from Nihal's game is definitely to make a plan and to follow it. But only thing, just remember that you have to make a good plan. But Nihal, okay, simply plays rook b1. He's not caring about the pawn. If he takes, okay, in the game he took the pawn, He plays king to g2 and he's down a pawn, but again this pawn is hanging and he has to go knight d4 back. Nihal could have played rook c7 here, but there's rook c8, so he simply just played a6. And okay, f5, okay, always he can get moves like knight g5, bishop g5, and putting pressure on this weaknesses. Now he plays h6, preventing the g5 square. Now Nihal simply goes rook c7, attacking the c5 pawn. He goes rook c8. Nihal simply plays rook to b7, attacking the bishop again. Rook into c7, rook into c7, and this pawn now cannot be saved. Okay, he definitely goes knight b3, trying to at least survive in rook endgame. But the rest is just matter of a technique for player like Nihal. The pawn, like the material is equal, but look at the technique. Look at the technique, guys. Simply high class play. Takes, and now it's 5-5 pawn. He played g5. Rook to c7. Even if he plays king e7 here, it's not going to help because rook c7 check and he cannot really come near because the absent pawn falls. So he goes g5, rook to c7, and now Nihal simply brings his king, king f3, king e4, h5, now c5. He plays g4, he just goes c6, and the moment he goes back with the king or moves from here, he just goes king e5 and simply like this. And okay, he can play this or simply rook c8, c7, and rook b8. So one-sidedly, guys, Nihal crushes a strong grandmaster from Azerbaijan, giving Team India a crucial win. Now let's go for the next game. Um, Bori Marcel. So guys, now let's see the last game of Nihal, which came in round 7 against Hungary. Very important win as India and Hungary was fighting for the first place. So this game Nihal started with 1 and f3 against international master, and the moment his opponent played d5, he immediately went for 2d4, going into his favorite London system. The opponent played nf6, bishop f4. Maybe he was prepared and he was like, okay, if he plays London system, I'll play c5 and mainline. But Nihal played really nice. Let's see, c5, e3, and c6, and d2 queen b6, and this is typical, like black tries to attack the b2 pawn, and there are sometimes we see they play rook b1 or queen c1 type moves, but Nihal doesn't go c3 earlier, and he preferred knight development, and here he comes up with d into c5, queen into b2. If queen into c5, something like knight b3, queen b6, a4, a5 can be played. Another famous game in such setup is Magnus Carlsen and Kramnik. So in the game, queen into b2 was played, rook b1, queen c3, and bishop b5. The point is, whenever black takes, white just goes castle, and at some point c4, knight e5, and white has like leading development and initiative. So black played e6 with the idea of hitting bishop into c5. Nihal plays castle, but now here if you take bishop into e5, bishop e5 is coming and a double attack. And if you play queen a3, okay, something like c4 is very strong. One should not hurry to take bishop into f6 because black has not castled, and the moment he castles, we can just take and just destroy the black structure. And this is already very difficult position for black. For example, bishop d7, we can just take. There is no knight d5 as the pawn hangs, and if any 5, okay, we simply have knight e5. And if it takes pawn, we can just simply go bishop b2, queen a5, just simply take, and gf6 and e4, opening up the center, and black kings look completely stupid over here. If we lock castles long, okay, we have ed5, and the b file is completely open. So his opponent played bishop e7, preventing any bishop e5 possibilities. So Nihal strike with e4. This is really important move, and I really love this move because black wanted to play short castle, and Nihal now strike with e4. If you take here, what's the problem, guys? It's very simple. He simply goes knight c4, and the point is, if you take here, the queen is getting trapped after rook b3. Suddenly the queen is getting trapped, and this was never expected from his opponent, and I think this is the move which surprised him in the opening. So Nihal was very well prepared. So e4 here, he played queen into c5. Now Nihal simply attacks his queen, bishop e3. If he goes queen d6, he simply has e5, winning a piece. This is a pin, so he has to go queen a3, and now e into d5. Also, there's one interesting variation which I was thinking during the game, that knight e5, attacking the knight and putting more pressure. For example, bishop d7, we simply take on d7, takes, and simply queen g4. Now the problem is, white is attacking the g7 pawn, and he cannot castle because the knight is hanging, and this is very bad position. And this is definitely very good for Nihal. But maybe Nihal thought his opponent can sacrifice a pawn and simply ignore and play castle here, for which knight c6, bc6, bishop c6. Now the rook looks trapped, but black has one interesting resource, bishop a6. So if he takes, and the position is a bit complex. Nihal may get this pawn, but he may lose this pawn. So it's like lots of pieces are getting exchanged for nothing, and black king is safe. For this reason, Nihal didn't go for this, though it was looking better for white. He decided to take on d5 first, and after he took with the knight, he decided to go bishop to d4. Now this is very interesting idea, attacking the g7 pawn. If he castles here, the point is very simple. He wants to go knight c4 and the queen is stuck. And if he takes on a2, guys, there's a rook a1 and the queen is trapped. So this was the whole point, forcing his opponent to go knight c3. So Nihal just took queen into c3, and now comes the crucial move, knight e4, attacking the queen and not allowing queen to remain on this square. And he has to go queen. If he goes queen a3, he can attack the queen again and get knight d6 like in the game. He played queen a5, trying to get queen here, but Nihal just wanted to keep it simple. He could have also gone knight d6, bishop d6, queen d6, something like bishop d7. Knight d4, keeping more pressure. And if he long castles, okay, there's one beautiful shot, bishop c6. He takes back and knight c6. There's no rook d6 as queen is hanging on a5. So this is just winning for Nihal. But instead of going for complications, Nihal just wanted to keep the position very simple. He just took the knight, making bad structure very poor, and knight d6. Now if he goes king f8, his king is already like done, and like he like this rooks are never gonna come in the game. Like this rook is cannot be developed, and this rook is not coming in the game. And so black took this out of depression and he thought, okay, maybe it takes, and if queen d8, he's doing all right. But the problem is, if he plays queen c5 or let's say queen on this diagonal, it's very bad for black. This is really bad if you are greedy, because bishop d7 is coming, and if you go and now here he just plays queen e7 and next move castle if you don't take. So this is just fine for black. But if you just play queen c5, keeping the attack on the pawn, and now queen c6 is not possible because of very simple reason, queen into c6, bishop d7, and a8 is hanging. So he tried queen, and if queen d5, guys, just maybe queen back. If c5, then let's say rook d1, queen to c6, knight e5, queen here. Let's say this check. I go let's say king f8 and simply queen f4, giving threats like knight here, rook d8, and this is like completely winning. The bar is simply collapsing. Like plus 15 minutes, it's mate. So in the game he played queen c7. Now he's threatening maybe just to play bishop d7 and maybe long castle, or maybe f6, king f7. So Nihal simply develops his rook to the open file, taking control of the d file. He plays f6, rook d6, attacking the pawn, bishop to d7. Now comes another important move, rook to d1. And now if he plays rook d8, guys, there is a very simple winning shot here with queen h5 check. If g6, simply queen h6, and he goes, he just destroys the position. So this is simply very bad for black, and that's why he decided to go long castle, as the pressure was increasing a lot. And now Nihal plays knight to d2, trying to come like knight c4, knight a5, and putting more pressure on c6 and completely attacking the king. So what Nihal does is, जहाँ पे king जाएगा दोस्तों, उसके पीछे सारे pieces लेके हम जाएंगे. बहुत simple logic. King के पीछे सारे जाएंगे. He plays e5 with the idea of bishop g4 and opening up the bishop. Nihal simply plays h3. Like he could have played rook b1, he could have played knight c4, but he just saying his opponent कि भाई तुम कुछ नहीं कर सकते. You cannot develop your bishop because c6 pawn is hanging. You cannot improve your rook much. Like everything is stuck, and this is just gone. So Marcel tried here queen to b6. Nihal simply played queen c3, and okay, next move knight c4 coming in. He goes queen to a6, preventing against nc4. So Nihal goes knight e4. Now he wants to go to c5 because the queen has moved to a6 and also attack the bishop. Also he's threatening rook d7, rook d7, rook d7 with knight 4 coming in. So he goes queen e2, attacking the knight. Now Nihal has very nice shot here. Rook into c6, attacking this. If he takes, guys, it's very simple. Mate in 2, just take and just give this check. So he goes king b8. Now rook to b1. He goes king a6, and now comes the another beautiful move by Nihal, and I really loved it. Rook to c7, simple. And okay, he just wants to play queen c5, queen a5. And if he takes the knight, guys, okay, it's simple. Rook into a7, check, and queen a5, checkmate. So this is how Nihal won round 7 for India. With this beautiful checkmate in the end, Nihal ended his winning streak of 4 games in a row. He played with white pieces, he played with black pieces, and won all of them. Only player from Indian team to win all the games and having 100% score. Hope Nihal continues this fantastic performance in playoffs as well. Let's go Team India, and let's hope that we win the gold medal. See you soon, guys, and thank you for joining.